Hello, my dear Gemini. You are on the Astrology of the Path channel, and today we are talking about March 2026, a month in which, for the first time in a long time, you stop living on autopilot and begin to notice where exactly your energy is going. This is not a month of sharp turns or loud external victories. It is a month in which you pause internally to understand where you truly need to go next. Gemini is a sign of movement, words, information, and connections. You can quickly orient yourself, catch meanings, and connect people and ideas. But March 2026 seems to remove the background noise. It does not deprive you of speed. It makes you choose a direction. And this is why many of you will feel a strange sensation this month, as if the previous rhythm no longer brings satisfaction, while the new one has not yet formed. This is not a loss of interest in life. It is a moment of internal recalibration. Before we move on to the key dates of March, it is important to understand through which houses of the horoscope this month will unfold for you, because the events of March are not separate points, but a single process that affects several levels of your life at once. In March 2026, for Gemini, the 4th, 10th, 11th, and 12th houses are actively engaged. This is the axis of the inner and outer world, past and future, personal support and social realization. That is why the month feels transitional and very significant. The 4th house is your inner base, home, family, sense of security, roots, emotional support. It is the place to which you return when the outside world becomes too noisy. Through the 4th house, you feel where you are truly calm and where you live in constant tension. In March 2026, this house raises questions of internal comfort, home issues, relationships with loved ones, and the feeling of, I am in my place. For many Gemini, this is the month when it becomes clear. You cannot endlessly be strong on the outside if there is no sense of support inside. Everything related to housing, family roles, emotional stability, and inner comfort begins to require attention and honesty. The 10th house is the opposite of the 4th. It is your external realization, profession, status, goals, the image you transmit to the world. Through this house, you understand who you are in social reality and how much this role aligns with your inner state. In March, this house becomes especially active, and you may feel an internal conflict between what is expected of you and what you are truly ready to carry forward. This is the month when the question, what do I work as, gradually turns into, how do I feel about myself? The 11th house is connected with the future. This is the space of goals, dreams, collectives, friends, like-minded people, and projects in which a common direction is important. Through this house, you feel with whom you are on the same path and for what you are ready to unite. In March 2026, the 11th house shows which people and ideas have potential for the future and which connections have already lived their course. You may suddenly realize that your previous social circle no longer reflects your true self, and this realization will not be painful, but liberating. The 12th house completes the cycle. It is the house of silence, internal processes, subconscious, hidden emotions, and release. Through it, you say goodbye not to people but to states, fears, and patterns that you no longer want to carry. In March, this house works as a space of deep cleansing. You may want solitude, a pause, silence, a reduction of external activity. This is not withdrawal from life, but preparation for a new personal stage that will begin in spring. Thus, March 2026 for Gemini is a month in which the inner house, external role, image of the future, and completion of old cycles are intertwined into one process. And the key dates of the month only highlight the points where this process becomes especially noticeable. Now let's move on to the main astrological events of March and see how exactly they can be experienced by you in real life through feelings, situations, and internal decisions. On March 2, Mars changes signs and enters your 10th house. This is a moment when activity shifts into the sphere of work, goals, and social movement. Inside, tension may arise. The feeling that something is expected of you, that you need to act, manifest yourself, take responsibility, but at the same time, resistance may arise. You may catch yourself thinking that you do not want to do something just because it is customary or expected of you. Situations are possible in which you are pushed to make decisions in the professional sphere, offered new tasks, or required to clarify positions. This is the beginning of the month where the theme of choosing a direction becomes especially acute. On this day, it is useful to observe your inner resistance. The desire to withdraw from obligations may arise. But at the same time, there is a chance to show your leadership qualities through the initiative that you yourself choose. On March 3, a lunar eclipse occurs in the 4th house. This is one of the most sensitive points of the month. Outwardly, the day may seem calm, but inside a deep shift occurs. Issues of home, family, inner support, and security arise. You may unexpectedly feel tired of constant movement. There is a desire to stop, be in your own space, and restore contact with yourself. For some Gemini, this eclipse manifests through conversations with loved ones, returning to old family topics or memories. Sometimes there is an understanding that you have lived too long, not from a sense of home, but out of the need to meet external expectations. This is the moment when you clearly feel where you are calm and where you are constantly tense. In practical terms, the eclipse may bring unexpected tasks at home. Repairs, moving, family discussions of important issues. It is important to respond gently, not to force events, but to listen to your feelings. On March 5th, a harmonious aspect of the Sun and Jupiter brings a sense of expansion. This is a day when a perspective appears. You may receive news, an offer, or information that helps you see the situation more broadly. Successful conversations, meetings, correspondence that opens new horizons are possible. This is a good day for learning, discussing ideas, and strategic planning. Even a random dialogue can become a key to an important decision. You begin to understand that there is a way out, and it is not where you were looking before. In practical terms, the day may bring useful acquaintances that later become important for work or personal development. Possibly discovering new resources or participating in an event that expands your worldview. On March 6, Venus changes signs and enters the 12th house, and on March 8, it conjuncts Neptune. This is a period of internal silence and subtle sensitivity. You may want to speak less and feel more. There arises a need for solitude, a pause from social roles. During this time, old feelings, unfinished emotional stories, thoughts about the past often return. Bright dreams, intuitive insights, moments when you suddenly clearly understand what you no longer want are possible. In relationships, this is a time of hidden processes. Someone realizes that they have long been living untruthfully. Someone feels a quiet attachment that does not require words. It is important not to rush to conclusions and not to try to explain everything with logic. This period works on a deep level. A practical situation may be such. You receive letters or messages from people you haven't contacted for a long time, or suddenly realize that an emotional connection with a certain situation is no longer relevant. It is important to simply note your feelings, not act impulsively. On March 7, the Sun conjuncts retrograde Mercury, which may manifest as a return. Old ideas, people, and topics appear again in your field of attention. Someone from the past may write to you. Or you may return to a project that you once postponed. The difference now is that you look at everything differently. This is a chance to review past experience without illusions and self-deception. It is not necessary to resume anything. Sometimes it is enough to understand why it did not work out then and let it go. On this day, it is useful to take notes or keep a journal, recording the lessons you have learned from past situations. On March 13, when Mars conjuncts the North Node, a point of fateful choice begins. This is the day when internal tension reaches its peak. It becomes clear that you can no longer postpone. In the professional sphere, there may be an offer or a situation that requires decisiveness, or you yourself understand that you no longer want to continue along the old trajectory. This is the moment when you choose a direction, even if it scares you with the unknown. This choice determines your vector for months to come. In real life, this may be an offer for a new project, a decision to change jobs, or change the format of your relationships and collaborations. The period from March 14 to 16 may be difficult. Nervousness, distraction, and fatigue from information increase. Misunderstandings in communication, mistakes in words, and a sense that you are not heard or cannot clearly express your thoughts are possible. It is important to slow down and avoid conflicts. Everything that seems critical during these days will later turn out to be less significant. This is a time for careful work with documents, correspondence, and important meetings. Any impulsive actions now may cause unnecessary difficulties. On March 19, a new moon occurs in the 11th house. This is the beginning of a new cycle in the theme of the future and your surroundings. You may clearly feel that you are ready for different people nearby, for another format of communication, for new projects that match your current values. This is a good time to set intentions related to long-term goals. Someone during this period finds their community. Someone realizes that old connections no longer resonate. A practical situation may involve creating a new project, joining a collective or club, or participating in a joint initiative that reflects your current interests. On March 20, the Sun moves into a new sign, and a period of completion begins. There is a need to sum up. Close old affairs, sort out accumulated matters, and bring order not only to your external space but also in your mind. This is a time when you gradually step out of the bustle and prepare for a new stage. In practical terms, the day is suitable for systematizing information, organizing your workspace, and completing projects that have been dragging on for several months. On March 25, the Sun conjuncts Saturn, bringing inner clarity. This is a calm, serious day. You can make an important decision without excess emotions, simply because everything inside has already matured. This is a moment of maturity, when you stop wavering and take responsibility for the chosen path. Practically, the day is favorable for budgeting, signing contracts, and determining further steps in work and personal life. And finally, on March 30, Venus leaves the 12th house. You feel the return of lightness. There is a desire to share, communicate, and be in contact with the world without internal tension. This is a sign that the process of cleansing is complete. You are ready to enter a new stage with a different quality of attention to yourself and your life. March 2026 teaches Gemini the most important lesson. Your voice is important only when it comes from within, and not from the habit of speaking. This month helps you separate noise from meaning, movement from the true path. By the end of March, you emerge to people not as someone seeking answers in the outside world, but as a person who has learned to hear themselves. Subscribe to the Astrology of the Path channel. Like this video if it resonated with you, and share in the comments what inner discoveries this month brought you. Your path continues, and we will walk it together.